We spoke a bit about Chelsea, we spoke a bit about Arsenal, so we have to kind of go into a game that I know that Arsenal won twice against Chelsea last year, and it did change Arsenal's trajectory a little bit. Saka came in, Emma Smith-Rowe came in. We kind of started to do things that people were hoping we could do. I should say we started to create, but we are dealing with a totally different animal. We're dealing with that hybrid dinosaur that they created in that one of those fucking Jurassic Park films. You know, the one where the dinosaur can get invisible and he's a fucking he's a Tyrannosaurus Rex and a Velociraptor and he's like a million feet tall. We're dealing with a Chelsea team now that are so ready. We saw that. We saw that when Tuchel got there, and an elite manager. He's an elite manager off the conveyor belt. The next one. We saw when he got there, it's just sorted that defence out.
They're just drilled. They're just absolutely drilled.
And then you throw Romelu Lukaku into that mix of a team that's so confident that this frightens me. Because Romelu Lukaku, and I've got to tell you quickly, because since Romelu's been linked, where it was happening, obviously, for me, it's really horrible to be on that side of it, because Romelu's talking to me on a consistent basis, just like when he was getting ready to go to Inter Milan or Juventus.
Yeah.
So I know that it's happening. He's signed, but you have to keep quiet. So all the time I'm thinking, this is fine and that. And when I see how we got beaten against Brentford, knowing that Romelu will definitely be there, but in the press it's saying he hasn't signed yet and this and that, knowing he's going to be...
Didn't Chelsea release like a statement but almost hours after the Arsenal defeat being like, Romelu Lukaku will start against Arsenal next weekend? The trolling. It was within like 12 hours to be like licking their lips.
It's honestly flow. And I knew that this is going to happen and watched how we played and seen how Ivan Toney, who I have to say, I'm looking forward to seeing him this season, and Muembo, how they dealt with our defence. And let's face it, Romelu Lukaku, the players that he's now got in front of him and around him, it's devastating for any defence.
Most teams are going to be chasing shadows against Chelsea this season, and they're going to be chasing Lukaku around the pitch because there's just going to be so many runners. Like, it's just you're not going to know what to do.
Even Kovacic is running now. This man is running now. This man is liberated. I was like, hey, this man's going forward, having shots from distance. We're seeing players within the Chelsea system. Everyone knows their role so well. And it began with, I've mentioned Rudiger many times, began with Rudiger. When Rudiger started being free, it went to everyone. Christensen now, and this is the thing, they're coming off, some of these players are coming off outstanding tournaments. And there's a way that Chelsea have been like this a while, but there's a thing about Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, right? When Chelsea are performing at their peak at Stamford Bridge, they are as unstoppable as anything in the Premier League of the last, I would say even 15 years, actually. And I saw that against Palace. It was just the intensity, and some can criticise Vieira and all the rest of it, but actually the speed they were moving the ball through gaps, the spaces they were finding. And this is without Kai Havertz playing. This is without Ben Chilwell playing, who I think is the superior left-sided player. I think he's the better left wing-back and left-back, actually. Their depth... They're my title favourite just because every part, does that make sense, Flo? Every part of that team is working. Yeah.
They're very in sync. And I think the only way Arsenal are going to get anything is by really finessing their set pieces, which I don't think many could have hope in, but just targeting them at corners. And that's maybe the only slight weakness we can try and unravel this season and see if it exists, but that's it.
I think we've got a Chelsea now, guys, where they believe that they can win the Premier League. They believe they can win the Premier League.
They should try and win the Champions League again. They should try and go back to back. In fact, they, I think, are the biggest danger to PSG, I would say.
You think Chelsea?
Yeah, I think so. Because they have they can solve the most problems. PSG have particular gaps within that team, and Chelsea apply pressure. The thing about them, and looking at their team the other day, I was thinking they're absolutely airtight. If I look at each part of the Chelsea attack, midfield, defence, I can't see a gap of more than 5-10 yards in any space when they're playing at their best. Every gap is closed. There are some teams who attack the pressure points. So for City for a while, it was like man mark Rodri. For PSG, it would be attack the space between Ramos and whichever fullback he's alongside. Right, there's specific gaps. They're there before the start of the season. I look at this Chelsea team and I can't see obvious gaps.
And you know what I like about the manager, Flo? You look at the manager when he's on the side. He looks so so tunnel
He's
vision.
so intense.
So intense.
Even in that preseason friendly at the Emirates,
yeah.
it was ridiculous. I mean, it was preseason friendly for a mental health charity, and the man was coaching. The man was coaching like it was the Champions League final. Unbelievable intensity.
I love it.
Crazy.
Honestly, since he's got here, he's not. He doesn't get wrapped up in no noise, outside noise, or whatever people say about anything. He's just like totally focused on the team. And you look at the team, and they are, like Flo said, rightly said, they are so in sync. That you look at it, it's like you can, like towards when Wenger started to get it, when it's that season, just before the Premier League winning season, everybody knew what they were doing. And you can look at him and know he's going to play well, because you're playing in the system and you know that the system works and all I need to do is just continue to play well in this system. We're going to beat teams.
Maybe it's about hats though, because Klopp wears a cap, Tuchel wears a cap. Maybe Arteta needs to wear a cap. Maybe the magic is in the cap.
He needs to do
and that brings
something.
what you need out of you.
This fearlessness in calling out players. This thing this quote is rent free in my head. When he said, Callum Hudson-Odoi, no more hiding.
Oh my God.
That is wild that he said that early. It was like, he subbed Callum Hudson-Odoi like twice in the game out of the last season.
So that says to me, Moose, he's had a very good chat with him.
And this also is like, this person is like, we saw it with United, like you bring in new players and they're then the players who are starting then playing with like a great level of fear. Like Lindelof knows Varane is there. He plays out of his mind.
Yes.
Sancho's arrived. All the playmakers are stepping up because they know that man is waiting in the wings. And Hudson-Odoi now, in terms of the pecking order, Tuchel's not the kind of person that's afraid to say, oh, by the way, you were second in the pecking order, now you're fifth. You're behind Ziyech, whoever.
Yeah.
Like that is, Tuchel is that direct, but what I love about his management style in a way is it's like, get with it or get off.
Yes.
And, look, and this is the thing about him winning the Champions League so early, like in his tenure there, it's like when Mbappe won the World Cup at as a teenager. You can't really say anything to Tuchel now. Like all that talk about, can he hack it? He doesn't, what do you mean can he hack it? He's hacked it.
Yeah. And I tell you what it does to players is it's ideally what you want is you do not want the team playing out of their skin when you are trying to get into the team and you're vexed about not being able to get in the team, but there's teams that may be linked with you, but the manager doesn't even care about you to the point where, how you doing? And you're okay. And you're trying to do something. I've seen players do it where they're trying to do something to get the manager's attention, but the manager's, I'm not bothered with your foolishness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You with me, if you're going to get it done, because then you're playing this team. But if you're going to be like foolish and your agent's going to be saying stuff and you're not going to play or train as how I like, I'm not even interested in you. And so when you're walking around and you see the manager of the canteen and you see him talking to other players and he's kind of like not giving you that same kind of love because you're not where he needs you to be. And as soon as you are where he needs you to be, he's all over you. But if you're trying to be vexed with him and he's not even paying any attention to you.
It's interesting though how you balance that though, how managers balance that, because we saw with Mourinho how it becomes so toxic so quickly. And it's a masterstroke to be able to balance that and not piss people off and keep that harmony and that positive energy. So keep competition amongst the players but not alienate anyone. That's tough. That is really tough.
You know what it's easier? I'll tell you why it's easier. When everybody is when they're doing it right and they're winning. It's easier because...
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, when you're winning, everyone's up for it, aren't they?
You can't do anything.
A club like Chelsea, it can unravel so quickly, right?
I want to throw something else as well because I've noticed something about Pep. When Pep comes out and gives you astonishing amount of praise, he's getting ready to sell you. It's a theory, right? See, he did it with Aguero's the best. He's the best. He's so wonderful. And Aguero was gone. And then Bernardo Silva, was it 2019? It was like, oh my goodness, he said, Bernardo Silva. Can't imagine anyone better. Defense, attack, oh my goodness, everywhere. 2 years later, Bernardo's trying to leave and I'm like, hang on a minute, I'm spotting a pattern. It's like when Pep gets very excited, do you know when we're like in the UK when everyone's clapping for the NHS, I'm like, they're going to cut their money. I'm like, that's what Pep is. Why are you rewarding me? You're giving me a prize.
Talking about Pep, just quickly, just got to mention, I watched that game and there was something, well, I used an analogy. I said, this is like the rebellion beating. When Tottenham beat City in that game, it's like the end of the Star Wars film when Ewoks and everything happened and the rebellion beat the Empire when they beat them. I felt that because there was
Wrighty C3PO, the Ewoks
Thank
dancing.
you. You see it
All
because
the ghosts there as well.
all it was.
Kenobi.
Yeah, I mean, all of it.
Ghosts.
Because the thing with it is, Flo, is that Man City came in there, and they came in there like when I saw the start of Star Wars for the first time at the cinema, where the spaceship comes over the top and it goes on forever. That's how they arrived at Tottenham.
The Star Destroyer.
And they've come with that massive Star Destroyer, but they're coming to take your main man as well.
Yes.
And so it really did seem like, oh my God, poor Spurs. That's what it felt like. And then what did Spurs do? Spurs beat them, bro.
Yes.
Spurs beat them. And it's one of those, again, it's one of those results where you have to say that needed to happen. I don't know if it needed to happen for the Man City players. It needed to happen for the Spurs players for sure, knowing that they're looking to take, that their main man wants to go to that team, but we are capable of beating them. Yes, we know that when he's there, it's a different story, but we've got to put down something. We have to do something. We're right up against it, but we have to do something. And they beat them. And I was quite pleased because we know that City will get themselves going and City will be one of the main contenders, but it's good for Spurs to beat them. And I was quite pleased about that.
When you know your man's having an affair, but you've got to turn up to the club and look hot, and then you get it done. You get some numbers.
Wow!
That was that game.
That's the one. Wow!
I felt that in my core. Because I had a spiritual. Because that's also a sense of it's a sense of a public duty, isn't it? It's a public duty, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh
They've got to prove
God.
that they've still got it. That they don't need that man. They've still got it.